Welcome to the next session of the Virtual Summit. Create and plan your 2024 marketing initiatives. This session offers fresh insights and strategies to ignite your marketing efforts for the rest of the year. As we delve into the intricacies of planning, envisioning, and executing your initiatives, remember that this journey is just beginning. Let's jump into it.
All right, Michael, let's lean into this one together. It's email newsletters. Some conquerors hate them, some conquerors run from them, and some conquerors say they're highly ineffective. Okay, so let's kind of do this together. Okay, I don't know if you can read the tiny font, but guys, this is created in a way that take a picture if you need it. This serves as a checklist, and I know that you talk very deeply about repurposing content, right? So go ahead and lean in a little bit about the 10 opportunities, or some of the opportunities they might be missing if they don't have a newsletter.
Anybody in this room get my newsletters? Yeah, everybody who's ever signed up for something and didn't get anything, you get newsletters. One of my favorite metrics that I have one of my VAs give me is our open and clicked open rates every single month. I sell at least one website per month, every single month, from my email newsletters, every single month. So that's between $3,000 and $10,000 every month. I also get at least one person respond that, hey, this was amazing content. This was fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing. Here's the secret, and I hope that you guys don't get upset with me. I just have the same 24 emails going out every single year. Why? Because people don't remember what they read 12 months ago. If it has a bad open rate, I'm going to change the subject line. And if it had the next year, if it has a bad open rate, or a bad click to open rate, I'm gonna change the content. Most of the content is pretty good, and it hasn't really changed because it's specifically geared toward the seasonality of a home service business. So you owe it to your customers to give good content. My favorite thing I think so far was what Michael said, is he's telling a story about his family. He's not talking about like, buy my stuff, buy my stuff. He's opening up and kind of being vulnerable to and telling his story. People care about your story. They care about your expertise. And if you don't tell them what you know and educate them about things they actually do care about, somebody else will, and you're gonna miss that opportunity. So you owe it to them to send newsletters out, send content out, give helpful information. I was at Window Genie like 7 years ago as a marketing director, and the best blog they ever had, tens of thousands of views every single month, was why do people paint their porch blue? Has nothing to do with Windows at all. But it was just an article about why do people paint their porch blue, and it just drove so many leads and so much engagement from something that had nothing to do with anything. So create content, especially with your audience list. You've got 3, 4, 10, 20,000 customers in your database. You're servicing 500 or 600 a year. Those other 20,000 are the warmest, best leads you can possibly get, and you owe it to them to create that content. Is that good?
Love it, love it. You know, some of the tools to get started, you know, conquerors are like, I don't know what to write. I don't know if I'm writing the right thing and all this other stuff. How do I get that engagement? Put yourself into your customer's shoes. If you haven't done a customer avatar in the last 6 months, go back, refresh it, look at it. Make sure you're talking to the right type of customers. You know, something's funny when people ask me, well, Erin, how many times do you, your companies send out email newsletters? And I tell them for the flagship, we send out email newsletters 4 times a month. Do you guys want to hear the secret? I don't know if I should give it away. Is anyone in Dallas? Okay, no, I'm just joking. All right, here's what I do. So week 1, what we do is we send it to our service contract holders. And we treat our service contract holders as a membership, so a VIP experience. So I want them to be the first ones to know that we have a raffle going on. We're going to be in the community. Hey, the seats to the Dallas Maverick, whatever, you know, front side is open. Raffle. Get your AC tune-up, and you'll be entered into a raffle. You get what I'm saying? It's that VIP experience. They get that on week 1. Week 2, we send out an email to our vendors, our business, you know, affiliations through BNI and just some of those. Hey, it was so great meeting you, right, from one session to another, from 1 month to another. Hey, it was so great running into you. Here's a little bit more about what we talked about. Very generic content. Very generic, but in a way it's like, hey, it was so great meeting you at the Veterans Breakfast. Right? Or, hey, we're gonna be over here. So if you're a veteran and you identify, we always have a seat ready and open for you. But that's our authentic voice. You get what I'm saying? So we can say things like that. So kind of tap into that. Week 3, we send out an email to newly acquired leads. Hey, want to tell you a little bit about our business. Here's some home tips. Here's some seasonal stuff. Here's a checklist of the different things you can do in your home. Reminders, we do residential and commercial. We let them know where we're going to be at. we give them the easy space to do a one-click online booking. You get what I'm saying? We're talking to 3 different audiences. Week 4. Week 4, we send it out to like our top group, like some folks are part of masterminds or local business affiliations. What I do is I connect with the chamber leaders, the boards, the membership people. That's the most powerful ones out there. Whoever holds the board position of memberships, they know who their members are. I'm gonna make a beeline straight over to them. Okay, I don't wanna sit in the back of the room. Get me to the front of the room so I can make the right contacts. Before I invest in that BNI or that networking group, I want to ask them about the members that are there. I want to make sure it's the right fit, okay? I don't want to compete with 20 others that are in my space. So here's what I do. I put them on a special segmented email list. And I send something out to them at the end of the month, letting them know that we are either we're away from our goal. Our goal was to feed 50 children, and we're paired up with the nonprofit, and we do this. This is our authentic voice. There's proceeds from a specific thing. This is what we wanted to do. We're behind on our mark. Do you know anyone that needs our service? Do you see the strategic side of that? We all win together. So 4 different emails that communicate 4 different parts and facets of our business. So then when I'm out, people will go, oh, that's what you guys were talking about. So the same person doesn't get the email multiple times. So we're kind of meeting them where they're at, but that's a very sophisticated way of doing that. But I believe, you guys are super, super smart and hard workers and you're entrepreneurs, you know how to solve problems. My wish is that you work your way up to that. But you gotta start with one. But something that someone else set up here was, when you set up your email newsletter, let's say for January, that's the same one I was using 2 Januaries ago. All I'm doing is providing more current information on my coupons and services. So that's just a little tidbit of what we do. So as far as tools, again, make sure it's engaging. I got some slides about additional resources. Do you want to add something to that?
Well, what she said was incredible. There's 6 to 7 figures of new income every single month, or even a year with each one of those. So just pick one, and then do it, and then do the next one, and then do the next one. Because it's gonna take a while to curate the list and build the list and segment the list and do it. Just do one. Any one of those will build 6 or 7 figures to your business this year, depending on the size of your database.
And thinking back to the KPIs, you had mentioned, I send this one out, didn't do so good, so I'm gonna send it again, but now I'm changing the subject line. I'm gonna change the body content because the engagement wasn't there. So that's KPI tracking as well.
So this is a quick, simplified way of kind of looking at your email newsletter. So if you're sitting there going, my newsletter, there's not enough excitement going on in my company. Yes, there is. There absolutely is. But your email newsletter also has to connect the dots to your website, and it has to connect the dots to your social media. So let's say, for example, you're a locally owned business, you have an incredible story. Michael shared his story with his dad. There might be some other generational pieces out here. Do you have that on your website? Do you have an About Us? Just by a show of hands, who has an About Us where you're throwing a warm story out there, authentic? Not everyone. Why not? That's important. The best thing that the pandemic did was support local, was start that movement, and that movement's still going on. So who's gonna read your emails? How often are you going to send them out? These are some of the baseline questions, okay? And then what are you going to collect? You're not just sending out emails for sending out emails, right? What's the ROI behind that? Topics that work best. Do a quick inventory. When's the last time you talked about some of these topics? You know what I hear a lot, Michael, when conquerors sometimes go, I talked about that last quarter. I don't think I should talk about that again. What do you have to say about those type of?
So, how much effort and attention are you paying to the emails that you're getting and social media that you're flowing through? You're a blip of time in somebody's social experience. And you'll know if something works if you get engagement. If you get engagement, do more of that until you start to see it diminish. So if you did something last quarter and it didn't work, maybe try something different. But if it did work, keep hitting that even harder. And be a student of other advertisers, because you're gonna see what they do, and you can do the exact same thing, especially if it's a plumber or painter in Dallas and you're in Philadelphia. You can do the same thing they do. Nobody's gonna see it. I guarantee you homeowners in Philadelphia are not following HVAC companies from Dallas.
Yeah.
Guarantee it. So if something's working in one area, it's probably going to work in another area.
And Iram, that's really quick. That photo of my dad, I have 2 or 3 different ones. I have my dad, and then I have a veteran photo. I share the same photo once every 6 months.
That's right.
I might change the wording a little, but you know what? It brings in people every time. I don't have stalkers that are like, you did the photo.
Right.
You know,
Yeah, it
so
just-
don't worry
That
about
won't
that.
happen. Exactly.
Doesn't happen. I don't remember what I had for breakfast.
Right.
And it was like an
Right.
hour ago. So,
Right.
you know, they
So-
don't remember your email from last quarter.
Really quick, show of hands. If anybody had a piece of content that did really well, like raise your hand if it felt good. Did it feel good to like have that? Wouldn't it be good to have more of that? Yes, it feels, it's like, I was talking about a dopamine rush, right? Posting content. So do more of it. It feels so good to have something go viral.
And actually, just wanted to call out a few things. So we have our media team here. They have high resolution cameras, videos, whatever. If you know what your elevator pitch is, I saw who raised their hand when you said you went to BNI and master class and all that other stuff. Take advantage of that today. Go into that media room, right? And do your 30-second elevator pitch. You have the power of Canva or Adobe or whatever it is. You want to blank out that background and impose another background? Go for it. You have the tools here, there's nothing stopping you, right? So there's no obstacles in your way. I want to call out 3 things. I always talk about the 3 currencies. The first currency is obvious money, right? Some people make budget-based decisions because they either are disciplined and they want to stick to the budget, but it's currency, it's money, right? So if you go over their budget, they go, no, I'm out, it's not within my range. Not everyone speaks to that. Not everyone makes that budget-based decision. So stop talking to your customers or sending them information highlighting that specific thing. That may not be their currency. You cannot get a customer like me by saying, I'm going to save you $50. Nope, not going to happen. I'm going to go, okay. All right, it's going to be subpar work. Nope. All right, then we got our other set of currency, which is time. Some people are very busy. Let them know that you do things on an urgent basis. When you do it on an urgent basis, that it's still thorough. You don't cut corners. Are you saying that in your messaging? The last one is peace of mind. And a lot of times I hear conquerors go, that's my people. They don't ask how much it is, just don't cost them their sleep. Are you saying that? We flat out say that, Michael Gregory. We flat out say that. On our website, we actually say our customers trust us so much that they refer their bosses.
Love it.
That's some trust, right? So we say things like that. We promise we're not going to cost you your sleep. It's the peace of mind approach. So those are the 3 currencies that I found were very helpful to communicate at every single turn. What other gold nuggets do you have just leaning into that conversation of the topics that work best?
You just asked me to follow up over that?
Yeah.
That was really good. Money,
I will
time,
say,
and peace of mind.
you know, there was one of my favorite emails that I ever sent out just said, thanks for being a great customer. It was like the smallest, simple, like just basically that sentence. Hey, first name, thanks for being a great customer. We appreciate you. And I made like $3,000 off that email and no work. People just appreciated it.
And there's 2 big emails, in my opinion, and 2 big texts. Merry Christmas, Thanksgiving. Those just have so much emotional connection. You don't want to miss those big things where people are already invested. We just want to say Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays, whatever it is you say. We just want to say Happy Holidays to you. Thank you for being our customer.
Love it. Michael, you want to add on to that?
No, not that particular thing.
Okay, so we got some topics that work best. Use this as an inventory, as an audit, okay? When's the last time you talked about seasonal trends? Maybe your local city celebrates something. Listen, I'm in Dallas, Texas. It's all about red, white, and blue where we're at, all right? So we talk about those things specifically, right? Other things that we talk about is just too hot or it's gonna ice, right? I mean, HVAC season in Dallas, there's a lot of competition. It's a saturated market. So we had to get really creative because otherwise we're just gonna show up like the average
on
vendor.
the endless scroll. Yeah.
So do you have some advice for conquerors out there that may not be in a saturated market? Maybe they're in a market where there's like a vacation town. What should they do?
Okay. I like standing up when I talk, so hold on.
Do it.
So actually, I prefer being in a saturated market. Going back again to my franchise days with Window Genie, and to this day, the founder is one of my best friends. But I remember they sold a franchise in Raleigh, North Carolina. And I went to him and I was like, Rick, like, there's 50 competitors in Raleigh. We can't sell a franchise to these people. It's going to be terrible. There's never going to be an opportunity. He's like, oh, that's awesome. And I was like, why is that awesome? He's like, because the market's already trained to know that you get these services done. So all we have to do is get a bigger megaphone, and then more people are going to be attracted to us. And so the job of a franchisor is to create the content that the franchisee can leverage and take advantage of. But for you yourself, when you think about wanting to create content, there's a philosophy in planning called top-down planning. Anybody heard of this? I love top-down planning. You start at the top of the funnel, and it's abstract, this idea. Start there. You don't have to have what Iram said, the 3 topics that you do. You don't have to have the exact post written, but just create the topics at the top. Like, what do we want to talk about month by month, week by week? Don't write the actual content. After that, once you get the topics written, then you can decide who's our audience going to be. I saw one of the slides previously. It talks about who's the audience, who's going to read it, who cares about this. So the next thing you do is start to pick out each one of those items and start to look at the weekly topics or the specific ones. But don't try to just do everything at one time. You're going to get lost. People get stuck with writing content, not because they run out of ideas. It's because their runway's gone. So get just content started and keep that runway going. But if you have the idea, the big picture philosophy, the weekly topics, it makes it a lot easier to continue to get more content created than you are today, analyzing it, seeing what gets engagement, to get better at what gets engagement, and then you can move to a new audience like Iram was talking about. So you can do your existing customers, your leads. I love the contractors, the B2B relationships. That's where the money is right there. So top-down planning, idea, concept, specific weekly topics and the audience I'm going to, and then you go to the post. Get a runway, and you'll never run out of time.
Love it, love it. I was scrolling through a couple of different examples, right, to let you know how content kind of sticks out. I want to go ahead and shift over a little bit to the design part of it, right? So there's this thing that I preach about, it's called the Z pattern, like the letter Z, right? So here what we do is we always want to make sure that there's content, and we want to give a shout out over to Jeremy Brooks. This version is on a drilling down in Basecamp. So what we basically talk about is maybe your content is really good, you just have it positioned the wrong way. Maybe it just looks really clunky, okay? So this is a wonderful example how Jeremy and his wife Carly have this email newsletter that is very clear what they're talking about, the branding is all there, and again, they have their key discussions, right? Their key topic points, but it has to flow through the letter Z. That Z pattern is so important. Okay, so if you are writing a newsletter and you're just like, man, this did not perform very well, or the coupon or this call to action didn't click, reposition where you put it. Maybe it was
scientifically proven.
Yeah,
this has been
Well,
proven.
I went to NYU for this one. All right, so I had to go in and get a whole class because I was really curious. I was curious of how the human mind picks it up. A couple of other things is maybe you're using the wrong font style. It's just easier to read something that's like Arial. Mm-hmm. Anyone doing anything in Comic Sans? Oh, don't laugh too much. We're not trying to hurt your feelings. But this is the universe telling
My
you to
fiance is
switch.
a graphic designer, and Comic Sans is like, you stay away.
Yeah, you got to stay
Don't
away
bring up
from
Comic Sans at dinner.
Here's the other thing. The stock images, the way people are positioned, you got to look at the words. The pointing, the arrows, you hear what I'm saying? That directs you to things. Don't be afraid to use some of those elements. Maybe you have some really good content and you're just not pointing to the right thing. So let's say, for example, we are content, okay? And I'm pointing over to Michael. I'm pointing over to Michael over there. You're going to look at Michael. What about if I'm pointing with 2 fingers like this? Now you're going to go, oh, it's obvious. But what about if I'm pointing over there and talking about?
This is so good, you guys. This is so good.
And it's little things that you might not realize, like her eyes. So like if you wanted to get a quote now button, it would go right there where it says use arrows to point to info. And that's how you sort of direct. And I don't know how many people are like, oh, I'm not getting calls, and then you look on their website and their call to action button is on a blue background and it's a blue button and you can barely see it.
All right, I jumped over to the good stuff because I want to open it up over to the audience, but take a picture of this. I'm telling you, take a picture of this. Folks hire me specifically to rewrite their newsletter in every industry out there, from automotive to fintech to banking and all of it. What works in one industry may work for yours. You want to watch an industry? Watch the automotive industry. What they do, how they talk to their customers. Parlay that in, okay? But here's the mix of how to deliver the right amount of info. All right, what are you talking about? Are you incorporating videos? How long those pieces are? But I hope this piece was helpful from a standpoint of work that you will do once you get back. Once you get back in your seat. We just started Q1, right? So let's go ahead and open up the floor. Let's get some questions going.
Thank you for joining this session. We hope you found the insights shared today valuable and inspiring as you chart your marketing course for the year ahead. Remember, the power to innovate and elevate your strategies lies within your hands. If you're hungry for more knowledge and eager to conquer new marketing frontiers, be sure to visit conquernow.com for additional resources.